everyone, this is Jacqui Cooper with J Cooper Travels, and I want to welcome everyone back to the J Cooper Travels talk show. And this episode is going to be really interesting if you rent, if you own a home, if you've ever been interested in real estate. This is the episode to stay on and learn a lot from both of my guests who are on. I'll introduce them in a quick second. For those of you that are new to J Cooper Travels, welcome. I started the talk show maybe close to 2 years now. The time kind of goes. And the focus initially was all about where we're going around the world. And then as COVID kind of changed our perspective. It's now, how do we travel in life, and where do we go, and how do we treat each other, and what are we learning as we go down our path and as we travel. And my background is that I'm both an attorney, but I'm also a special educator. So I know that you can start in one place and end up in another place and use the skills that you've learned in everything that you do. And I also have a number of side businesses because I love reaching out, helping people, and staying creative in the passion areas that I enjoy. So with that being said, today, one of the areas that I've always had an interest in is real estate, even though I'm not currently an investor except in my own home. But I did do mortgage brokering many years ago. So I am familiar with a little bit of that about that. But I want to welcome both of my guests here because they have a virtual academy that can provide a lot of education and resources. So welcome, everyone. How are you doing?
We're doing great. Thanks so much for having us, Jacqui.
So
Yeah.
why don't you go ahead? Yes, thank you. Why don't you go ahead and introduce both of yourselves and the actual name of the academy, and also how people can reach out to you. So that way, as we're going to be mentioning the contact number and website about 3 times during the show. So if you don't have a paper and pen, don't worry. It'll be in the blog below, and you can just come back to this episode and then be able to reach out. So I'll bounce it over to you guys so you can introduce.
Awesome. Minuen, why don't you get started?
Put me on the spot first.
Yes.
So my name is Minuen May. As far as being able to contact me, my name is spelled Minuen. I guarantee you, if you Google me, you will find me. I tell that to people all the time. Just Google my name, you'll find me. And just contact me that way through Facebook. My phone number is 843-868-3636. 843-868-3636. Virtual Academy, Real Estate Academy is all about starting in real estate, getting your education. But as times are changing, we're able to do more business in different areas of the country or world without physically being there.
Absolutely.
Kathy, I'll let you.
Okay. And I'm Kathy Corley. I have been like Jacqui. I started out, she started out doing other things. I started out as a teacher, early childhood and special ed. And as time evolved, my passions changed, and real estate is one area that my business partner, who's my mom, she and I both share. And so it's a great common ground for us to have a business together. And many people might say, oh my gosh, how do you have your mom as your business partner? But that's something that I grew up in. My parents always had a business together. And so it's a different mindset, right? Sometimes it's business time, sometimes it's family time, sometimes it's all of it together. When you get upset with somebody for one situation, you can't let it go into the other. So, sometimes it's a balance, but it goes well. For the most part, it goes really well. And most recently, ironically enough, Karen and I know Minuen for a few years now, actually, through meetups and a common mentor that we both started out with. And Minuen and I have kept in contact over time. He moved away a couple years ago, and so it's funny. He's one of the few investors that we really have appreciated and trust. And so, ironically, when the virtual REI Academy came into my world, he's who I called to kind of, you know, be my foil. And with the academy, let me share
Yeah, definitely share slides so we
slide.
can, for those that are on the talk side and not on the visual side, definitely go over to the YouTube side so you can see the slides, but we'll be explaining them as well.
Sure. So we're online education for all real estate investors. Virtual REI Academy is, I would say, for the newer investor, but don't pigeonhole that, because newer investors usually are doing one or two things and then they start to grow, and the academy can help you grow. We discuss quite a few different ways of investing in real estate. And Minuen, please, jump in anytime.
Yes, to expand on that, where she says it's not just for the new investors, uh, in our education platform where you can study the different modules and courses, you're introduced to everything from wholesaling to subject to creative financing, buying and selling notes, rehabbing in your own backyard, and virtual rehabbing, which is something that Kathy and I have just started as well. So
Yep.
basically, we're rehabbing in different cities that we don't even live in.
Right. Right.
Okay. So if there's, for example, say you may know wholesaling, which changes constantly, then maybe you want to expand into buying notes or buying mobile homes, mobile home parks, going into the residual passive income, which is the long game. I always tell people certain real estate strategies will make you rich, but they won't make you wealthy, because as soon as you stop doing them, the money doesn't come anymore. I like to take some of that money, put it over into the passive side, so that when I'm gone, if I had kids, they would have money, and then their kids would have money coming. So to produce the generational wealth. So we work both sides of the coin.
So I'm sorry, I'm having some problems with the slides. There we go. I got it going again.
Not
Sorry.
a problem, not a problem. So one of the things that I'm going to mention, and I will also put the link below, is that, as I mentioned earlier, my background is law. So I know that in real estate, it's heavy at looking at contracts. So I definitely think that everyone who gets involved in real estate should also have someone who is on their team that can look at contracts in a way with an objective eye and give you advice. And so one of the businesses that I'm involved with is called Legal Shield, and I'll put the link below because it's very affordable and it can provide unlimited access to lawyers to help you with contract review and other things, like questions that you might have. So Kathy, I'm going to let you explain more about the academy now.
Okay. And I totally agree with you, Jacqui. One of the people on your team needs to be an attorney. Actually, I would say a title attorney or a real estate attorney, as well as a traditional attorney, because they do very different things and very specific things. And you want to make sure that you have the right legal eyes for the situation. Um, so traditionally, the virtual REI Academy is going to focus more on residential than commercial. Although, with some things, with getting started with, say, rentals, that does dabble on the easy end of commercial. Oh, sugar! I'm so sorry. Technology and I do not always get along. There we go. We do have a monthly meetup. We do that live at Timbuktu Restaurant in Maryland. It's up in Hanover, Maryland, which is close to Arundel Mills. But we also put that out live stream through the Facebook group Virtual REI Academy. So you can find us at meetup.com and also on the Facebook group. And then, so we offer the online subscription, which I also think is something that's, so this is about a virtual course that we had this fall, which was great over the course of a week. But our classes, our virtual classes, is an online subscription. So you pay like $250 to get started for the first 3 months, and then it's $47 after, which is quite affordable for the type of education that you're getting. All of our faculty members for the academy are doing every day what they're teaching on the webinar. So it's great because you're not learning from people who are saying, oh, well, I used to do this. No, they are actually doing it every day live. And if you follow them on their different social media platforms, you see exactly what they do every single day. It's amazing. And these are some of the biggest rock stars in real estate investing in the DMV when you're seeing them. So, but the nice thing is that everything that they talk about, you can do in any state in our country and get started.
To add to that a little bit, for example, I started in the market where Kathy is, which is the DC, Baltimore area. I'm in South Carolina now, and I still do business in that market as well as a few other states. So when it comes to the virtual side, it's all about building the correct team, having the correct contracts and agreements in place, and it can be done anywhere. There's enough money in the business to go around for everybody.
Absolutely.
Also, when she showed the previous slide, you saw multifamily on there as well as the single family. We're actually one half of a company that has both. So along with Kathy and I, you also get access to multifamily knowledge. So by me being in South Carolina, mobile home parks are everywhere. So a lot of times the negotiation is pretty much the same. You just talk a little bit difference in numbers, such as, and I won't get too technical, but we get on return on investment, cap rate, cash on cash return, things like that, that investors want to know and banks want to know when you're buying quote unquote a commercial property, which is 5 units and above or 5 doors and above. But you can get started on the single family side with passive income on what is considered a single family residential building, which is the same as a house. So my house can have 1 door or it can have up to 4 doors, and it still qualifies for the same financing like you buying a regular house. And most people don't know that. They're like, oh, how can I go buy this 4-unit building? Do I need to go get a commercial? No, it's the same. It's the same. So
All those little tricks we teach you guys, not tricks, but information. And then within the academy, within the subscription, you have, like I said, the faculty who work within their area that they talk about, their expertise. We have coaching available by phone, in person. If the folks are in the DMV, certainly at the meetup, there's time to meet up ahead of time and go over things with people. We do a bi-weekly Zoom where we do question and answer, or we have topics that we talk about. With our Zoom, we're in the middle of doing a webinar or a Zoom series on mobile homes. We just had Queen, who talked about Airbnb, and her name is very apt for her because she is the queen of Airbnb, and she's a great friend of ours for quite a while now. We've talked about lead generation. We've had Nicole in to do question and answers. So I think that bi-weekly Zoom is a great, great resource for folks. We're doing actually not quarterly newsletters. We have so much information to share. We're actually doing monthly newsletters. We do daily postings. We have monthly subscriber calls. We've even added Tuesdays, we do Ask the Expert. So we're talking to different people, which we had Jacqui on, and we did Ask the Expert about Legal Shield. So we're talking to different folks about different needs within real estate investing. And most recently, and we didn't really do this for the Academy, Minuen and I did this more for our own fun. We've added on Thursdays, and we're getting ready to start a YouTube channel, Toilet Talk, which it's all the fun stories about real estate, the good, the bad, the ugly, and we just have a lot of fun talking about real estate during Toilet Talk.
It's the real talk, and it's not PG. Trust me.
That's right. No, it's not.
You get to express your feelings in Toilet Talk.
Yeah. So Virtual REI Academy is on Facebook. It's on meetup.com. And my number is 240-423-8467. And you can find Kathy Corley all over social media. I mean, Facebook is my friend. Lots of people actually find me and message me, and I try to get back to everybody. And you can also message through meetup.com. So yeah.
That's a lot of information that you guys have shared. And so what made you interested in getting into real estate?
So for me, like I said, it was a common ground for my mom and I to do business together. We generally, it's kind of funny, as newbies, most people are doing wholesaling. And Karen and I, nope, we can't wholesale. We pick the hardest strategy in investing, and we rehab and resell our houses. And we love that. We love taking a house that has had its life and now nobody wants it. And we get it and we make it new again and beautiful again. And people just love their houses. And we invest where we live, so we check up on our houses. And we do not find anyone who's not taking good care of their new home from us, so then that makes us feel good. It makes us feel like the work we do is really, really important. And I do think it's important for us to keep the neighborhoods viable versus letting these houses continue to erode, and then it just erodes our neighborhood. So it's a wonderful thing to do. And generally we're at that initial buyer price point. So it is really nice to work with a family to get them their first home, and know that we've given them a quality home.
I know that my mom, when I was a child, she would, my mom and dad both, they lived in upstate New York, as did I, obviously, but they would purchase homes. At that point, some of the houses were like $15,000, because the price of real estate was so much less. And then they remodeled. My mom did the remodeling because she always had the artistic and the hands-on, but she learned plumbing, she learned everything. She did the painting, she did everything that she could possibly do before she could, if she had to hire someone, she would, but she really wanted to be hands-on with the property, and then they would resell it after. And so I remember that they also rented houses, but they also sold them. And I remember the stories, about, the pros and the cons, about being involved in real estate. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you and then wanted to participate in the Academy, I heard that there was initial, investment of getting into the Academy and then a monthly. do you also hold hands in terms of deciding like which property should they maybe look at? Or how do you give advice when people are, it's scary to, kind of reach out the first time. So how do you support some of the individuals in the academy that this might be their first time, doing this?
So they just reach out to us in the academy. They have our phone numbers. We make sure that you can contact us. That's not a problem. I love helping others, and others can save money
Yes,
from learning from our mistakes and other
exactly.
um, Kathy would tell you there's been times where you flip a house and you think you're gonna make 50,000 and things go wrong, and because it's your first one and you don't know what you're doing, and then you either walk away in the hole or you walk away broke even, and you're kind of like, well, hey, I could have done this on the job. Real estate's not for me, and you go back to the 9 to 5. But if you have the proper education about what you're doing and you have somebody advising you, holding your hand, then maybe that deal that you thought was a deal wasn't a deal. Okay.
Right.
Or we can turn it into a deal with a different type of creative strategy.
Right.
So we're very, very easy to get in contact with. Whereas a lot of other people, I've been in their programs, you try to call, you're talking to an assistant overseas who then transfers you to somebody else. And you're like, wait a minute, you're not right here in my own country. So how can you really help me?
Right.
So we're very accessible.
Why don't you go ahead and mention again how people can contact you?
So for me, it's Minuen May, or Minuen Buys Houses on Facebook. My first name is spelled Minuen. Okay. 843-868-3636. 843-868-3636.
And Kathy?
So I'm Kathy Corley on Facebook. I also monitor the Virtual REI Academy Facebook group. So folks who put something in the chat, I'll get back to, or you can find me on Facebook and message me, or my number is 240-423-8467. And also with having the live meetup, folks put things in the chat during the meetup, as well as, if folks are part of the academy, they can make an appointment, meet me early. There's any number of ways that we can do some hands-on with folks to help them succeed. And Minuen said, when you're new, you can fail, and you absolutely can. And Karen and I did, and it was not because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. It wasn't because we didn't try to do the things we have been taught. It was because the people we were trying to learn from just really didn't have our best interest at heart. And when we changed that, when we changed who we were working with, and we got in with folks who told the truth and really wanted our success, that changed everything for us. And that's what Minuen and I want to do. We learn from the best, and we learned to be ethical and above board investors. And that's what we try to teach at the academy. And I keep saying your network is your net worth. And I know, Jackie, you want me to give my tip at the end, but that's going to be my tip now, because, we're talking about what the academy can do for you. And when you're learning from the best in the business, and I know there's only like one or two people with the academy that I don't personally know. And I know all of those folks do the right thing. And when you're working and learning from folks who do the right thing, it just, I don't know, it's like a miracle. And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do for folks. We want to give them that real good opportunity to get started.
I would agree with you. Minuen, what's your tip or takeaway for individuals that are listening?
It's actually two of them. Whatever you do, you have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it didn't work today or in a week or in 2 weeks doesn't mean it doesn't work. On the flip side, do not get shiny object syndrome. That means is you start wholesaling, then somebody tells you, hey, you need to start rehabbing. Then another person comes and tells you, hey, get this super great software. It costs you $200 a month, and come over here and get these people to call. That's another $200. And then next thing you know, you're spending $1,000 or $2,000 a month, and you don't even know what your organization does.
Right.
You're not making any money. Stick to one thing, learn that first, master it, then start adding others. That's my tip. Consistency.
I agree with you. I can definitely vouch for that in so many of the projects that I'm involved with. As listeners of J. Cooper Travels, you might know that we do the one tip, one place. So we did our tips. So what places would you, we're located in different areas. What places would you suggest that if someone's traveling to the area that you are enjoying, that they explore and find? Who would like to go first?
I'll go first because I already know mine. So, funny that I'm in real estate, right? Because I enjoy, and I always have, if I go someplace on vacation and I can go see a Frank Lloyd Wright house, I do. And that started long before I started doing investing. And so locally, there is Falling Waters, just right over the PA border. And actually, what I found out when I went there is there are like 12 Frank Lloyd Wright houses in that vicinity.
Wow.
So I highly suggest anybody who just likes being out in nature. Frank Lloyd Wright houses in PA are in the most beautiful scenic areas, and his homes, I thought that they would be kind of pigeonholed into, but they're not. They're all very, very different and very interesting. I have to say, I am claustrophobic. His houses are a little bit hard for me. They look big, but they're not so big. So when I do the tours, I always stay to the back of the tours. And I've also learned I can't go see them when it's hot out because there's no air conditioning.
Interesting.
So I've started not seeing them in the heat of summer, and it goes a little bit better. But they're just terribly interesting because he didn't just build houses, he built houses for people. So when you go see, you find out the history of why it was built and what was going on the land that it was built. And so it's more than just going to see a house, and they're just stunning. And like Falling Waters has I'm going to say there's probably 95% of what's in Falling Waters is original to the house. So you're walking into a home that is, 95% what it was when those people lived there every day. It's just amazing. And again, I'm not a history buff, but when you go into these homes of a certain period, you really learn a lot about the time. You know what I mean? And so it helps you to understand people from that time. My husband's a big history buff, so he's happy to go see a house with me because he wants to learn the history aspect of it. So it's kind of a cool thing. But yeah, that's one of the things I like to do in our area is go see the Frank Lloyd Wright houses.
Cool. Minion, where would you recommend?
So I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, not Charleston, West Virginia. I don't like okay. Charleston, if you've heard about it, has a super long history. Super long history. The architecture here is totally different. You have the big old plantation style houses. Some of these houses are from the 1800s that have been restored. As for one of the restaurants, Fleet Landing, You're on the water. You get to see everything. It's not 5-star where you pay exorbitant prices. Not cheap, but it's a good restaurant. This is one of the most recommended restaurants here, and the view is great because you're looking out onto the water.
That-
You could fall off into the water if you go over the railing. The other thing is you have a lot of wineries and distilleries here that are very nice, meaning they have space. So a lot of them, there's plenty of room. You get to try all the different beers or wines. They have festivals. Oh, and the other thing, I never knew about this until I came to this area. Starting late October, early November is what they call oyster roast.
Wow.
They harvest all the oysters and they're in abundance because they're in season, sort of like corn or peaches or something like that. So you can go to the seafood markets and buy big buckets of oysters, half a bushel or a full bushel. And then a lot of the wineries and breweries, they have oyster roast night or day, one day during the week, usually on the weekend, costs you about $20, $25, eat all the oysters you want.
That's awesome. Awesome to know.
Wow.
That is
That is
awesome.
a great tip.
I had never had steamed or oysters like on a grill so that they open up. I'd never had that before. They were
That's
either raw or
awesome.
fried.
That
So
is great.
it's nice.
So everyone who's been listening, you have a lot to take away and think about, both from the real estate side as well as from the travel side. I'm going to just share one more time that, especially if you are thinking about getting involved with the real estate side, check out my Legal Shield link and definitely reach out to me. Legal Shield for a personal plan is less than $1 a day. And if you're a small business, it also has very affordable rates. And you can have a law firm assigned to you based in any location that you are in, any state, as well as Canada. And they have the ability that, just like Kathy was talking about, that you need to think about specialty lawyers. So if your law firm doesn't have access to, if you're not assigned initially a lawyer that has that specialty, they reach out within the system and they'll assign you someone that is. So you're always connected with individuals that have the answer that you need. And I've been really impressed with that because as a lawyer, I'm only licensed in DC, and I really wanted to have the ability to refer people to affordable quality lawyers that can help them every time. And the plan is excellent. So just check it out. So everyone, thank you so much for being on. Any last minute thoughts that you would like to share with everyone?
Well, we hope to see you at the virtual REI Academy, whether it's Facebook, the meetup, or just give us a call to chat and see if we can answer your questions about investing.
Sounds great. All right.
Anytime.
Thank you so much, guys. I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Take care, everybody.